Majority of the problems we face today, the answers are already out in the world. It's all a matter of who makes the extra effort of acquiring them that emerges victorious. If you're on this video, it means you're making that extra effort. So, welcome. I'm going to share with you the 9 supreme Stoic ideas that can truly level up your life. You can even view them as rules. As you abide by them, you'll give your days, and hence, your life, some much-needed structure. It'll equip you with the tools and assist you in going a lot farther than you would on your own. This isn't no speculation. It's a tried and tested method, and it's worked for thousands of years for millions of high-value individuals. I'm sure you'll be one of them. Without any further ado, let's get into it. Rule number 1, own the morning. As Marcus Aurelius put it, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. I'm going to do what I was born for. Or is this what I was created for, to huddle under the blankets and stay warm? We've all had those days where we simply can't find any energy to jump out of bed and get started with our business. But the fact is, we don't have an option. If you don't make the effort right now, you'll still have to make it very shortly, only with a lot less liberty. Therefore, instead of being the victim of life's circumstances, you want to be the aggressor. You want to be on your own time. Wake up early and use that time for yourself. When you truly look into it, you'll realize it's a rich man activity. They wake up early as it's going to be the only time in the day they have to themselves. You might be wondering, what am I supposed to do in the morning? Here's a few ideas. First, journaling is a great activity to start your day off with. It allows you to organize your thoughts and get your priorities for the day set early on. You could also go for a walk early in the morning, as that counts for exercise and can also be therapeutic. Lastly, one of my personal favorite ways to start my mornings is by doing deep work. If you don't have time in your mornings, commit to waking up tomorrow 30 minutes earlier than you usually do. Decide what you are going to do with that extra 30 minutes, whether it's read, journal, exercise, meditate, or work. When your alarm clock rings, spring out of bed and get going. Rule number 2, only focus on what's in your control. As Epictetus said, the chief task in life is simply this, to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals, not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control. This is crucial as, with a little introspection, you'll come to the realization that most of the anxieties we have simply stem from things we can't control. We overthink the external factors, neglecting what does actually require our attention, until they become a problem out of our control too. It's a horrible cycle one must strive to break out of. Seneca has this saying, we suffer more from imagination than from reality, and it couldn't be truer. What you should do is this, think for 5 minutes about your current problems and separate them into 2 categories. Firstly, what is in your control, and second, what is out of your control. Rule number 3, treat success and failure the same. Marcus Aurelius once said, to accept it without arrogance, to let it go with indifference. And there's a lot of power behind that saying. Everyone says to detach yourself from the negatives, but they never say anything about the positives. In reality, unless you're equally detached from the positives as the negatives, only then can you truly reach the state of indifference where you aren't a victim to the fluctuations of life. In order to become a high-value individual, this is a must-have trait. Rule number 4, just do one thing every day. There's a saying that goes, well-being is attained by little and little, and nevertheless is no little thing itself. Brothers, everything worthwhile in life takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither can your entire life. Don't be one of those who underestimate the power of little things adding up. Even on your worst days, try making a little progress in any aspect you can. It's those minute seeming advances which turn into major accomplishments. Therefore, whenever you're feeling slow, just pick a project you are either currently working on or wanting to get started with. Rule number 5, make beautiful choices. Epictetus put it quite elegantly, if your choices are beautiful, so will you be. What does it mean to make beautiful choices? It's the intention behind them. The same action can be carried out from a beautiful or an ugly choice. When you wake up early in the morning to go for a run, all to hopefully extend your lifespan and have more time with your kids and grandchildren, that's a beautiful choice. if you do the same for your ego and your own selfish desires. It's unfortunately the latter. Hence, make choices with the right intentions. Don't just look for comfort, look for what has the best return on investment. Rule number 6, constantly ask if it's necessary. This was one of Marcus Aurelius's favorite activities. The way you do it is as follows. Take out a piece of paper and make 2 columns. On the left side, list out all of the things that are swirling in your mind and competing for your time and attention. On the right side, write, "It is necessary," or "It isn't necessary," next to each item on the list. Then, cross out all the unnecessary items on the page and in your life. Rule number 7, love your fate. Epictetus once said, "Do not seek to have events happen as you want them, but instead want them to happen, and your life will go well." To some extent, many suffer from fantasizing their own perfect lives. They plan out how everything will unfold, but as we know from life's unexpected nature, that's very rarely what happens. Hence, you're pretty much setting yourself up for disappointment and grief. Instead, what you would actually be better off with is taking a backseat sometimes. Don't blame or congratulate yourself for every bad or good thing which happens to you. Simply try to be an observer of your own life. Rule number 8, speak with the dead. And no, I'm not talking about Ouija boards. I'm talking about books, because it's through books that we really talk to people who are no longer with us. Their bodies may be rotting in the ground or long since turned to dust, but in the pages of a book, they are alive and well. You can put yourself in the same room as Lincoln, and you can also chat with Shakespeare. To do this isn't scary. In fact, it's the opposite. It's incredibly reassuring, because it means you have permanent access to the wisest men and women who ever lived. It's also an incredible opportunity to learn, to ask questions, to be taught. If there is anything at all scary about this, it's that millions of people decline to do this every day, day after day, for the balance of their natural lives. They reject this superpower, they decide to be illiterate, they ignore the dead, choosing to listen to the pathetic voices on their televisions and their Twitter feeds. To build a habit of reading, simply start light and easy, and just make a commitment to read for 30 minutes a day. Like I said before, the small things add up, so don't underestimate its power. Finally, rule number 9, remember, you are dying every day. Possibly one of the most thought-provoking quotes I've ever read was this one from Seneca. This is our big mistake, to think we look forward toward death. Most of death is already gone. Whatever time has passed is owned by death. It's a whole paradigm shift when you realize you die every single day, yet you wake up tomorrow and make the same mistakes you regretted the day prior. To break the cycle, spend 5 minutes every day meditating on your mortality, on how brief your existence is. Then, as Marcus Aurelius would say, let the thought of your mortality determine everything you do and say and think. Well then, there you have it, folks. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Stay blessed.